Thank you very much for visiting my channel. If not difficult, like and subscribe to my channel to always be aware of events. Thank. The death toll following a shooting at a Russian military base on the Ukraine border has risen to 22 after two gunmen from Tajikistan opened fire at fellow recruits reportedly in a row over religion. Initial reports announced that 11 soldiers had been killed and a further 15 injured on a training ground in the Belgorod region on the Ukrainian border. The Russian Defense Ministry revealed yesterday. But it has now been suggested that double this number was shot dead, with independent news outlet SOTA suggesting that 22 soldiers have died and 16 were wounded. There was no immediate explanation for the discrepancy in the figures after the mass shootings. The Defense Ministry, which only revealed the shooting some 12 hours after the incident, said two volunteer soldiers fired at fellow troops before they themselves were shot dead by a sniper. The incident took place during target practice, with one shooter firing at a target before he suddenly turned his machine gun on a crowd of forces watching. A second shooter used another weapon to fire at the men, before a sniper then shot dead the gunman, said reports. They were both nationals from an unspecified former Soviet republic. It is understood. SOTA is also reporting that a third assailant is currently on the run, following the incident. Ukrainian official Oleksiy Arestovich, an advisor to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, said a dispute over religion preceded the shooting. The gunmen were reported to be from ex-Soviet state Tajikistan and were among mobilized reservists at an army base in Belgorod region which borders Ukraine. Tajikistan is a predominantly Muslim nation, while around half of Russians follow various branches of Christianity. Governor of Belgorod region Vyacheslav Gladkov today said, "A terrible event happened on our territory, on the territory of one of the military units. Many soldiers were killed and wounded. There are no residents of the Belgorod region among the wounded and killed." The Russian Defense Ministry has labeled the incident a terrorist attack. Ukraine has not claimed responsibility for the incident. An eyewitness said, "They just went out and started to shoot. The killings were at a training ground as the soldiers were about to undergo target practice ahead of postings to the front line." The military volunteers were mainly from Bryansk region, but at least one was from Moscow region, said SOTA. The bloodbath was at a military unit near the village of Soloti, where a military camp was built in 2017 along with a training ground for the 752nd Motorized Rifle Regiment of the 3rd Motorized Rifle Division of the Western Military District. It comes after a recent mutiny at the same base when 100 mobilized servicemen reportedly refused to be moved to the epicenter of intense fighting at Lyman. An official source said, "During a firearms training session with individuals who voluntarily expressed a desire to participate in the special military operation against Ukraine, the terrorists opened fire with small arms on the personnel of the unit." Meanwhile, Mr. Zelensky said yesterday that Ukrainian troops are still holding the strategic eastern town of Bakhmut despite repeated Russian attacks, as the situation in the larger Donbas region remains very difficult. Russian forces have repeatedly tried to seize Bakhmut, which sits on a main road leading to the cities of Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. Both are situated in the Donetsk region. In the past 24 hours, Russian forces targeted more than 30 towns and villages across Ukraine, launching 5 missile and 23 airstrikes and up to 60 rocket attacks, the General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces said today. In response, Ukraine's air forces have carried out 32 strikes, hitting 24 Russian targets. Fighting is particularly intense in the eastern provinces of Donetsk and Luhansk, and the strategically important Kherson province in the south, 3 of the 4 regions Putin annexed in Sham referendums.